I do want to talk about Nightbitch. So, one of my followers asked me to watch the movie. I did not know that it was on Hulu. I found out that it was no longer in theaters yesterday when I watched it. I was a little bit surprised by what I found. The movie debuted in 82 theaters and then sort of disappeared. It made $170,000 in those 82 theaters. So, I was surprised that it was not playing in theaters anymore, but then I also wasn't surprised. Anyway, I watched it. I posted on Instagram if you guys want to go follow me. I post a lot in stories. I'm a poster, true poster. I posted in my Instagram stories that I actually could not believe how bad the movie was. And I love Amy Adams. Like, I am in a rival head. I have it as one of my top 4 movies of all time. Like, I'm obsessed with her. I think she is so brilliant. I'm unfortunately one of those annoying gays that's waiting for her like Oscar nomination. And I thought that this was going to be her year. And then I saw the Nightbitch trailer and I was like, okay, this is definitely isn't her year. And then I saw the movie. I did not read the book, so I can't do a one-to-one comparison of like what the differences were or how it was changed. I just know that tonally it was a little bit odd. It felt like there was a sort of thread of an idea. In case you don't know, this book is about an unnamed woman. She's called Mother in the movie and the book, who's staying home with her young kid. He's like 2. She is very listless. She is like very rageful of the fact that she has to spend all her time at home. She is an artist or was an artist, but she's no longer practicing her art because she has to take care of the kid. It takes you inside of her mind as she slowly starts to unravel and she like becomes a dog. It's unclear. I think in the book it's supposed to be unclear whether this is like actually happening to her or it's like in her head, right? So it's like sort of magical realism, sort of like fantastical. But in the movie, I think it's just played kind of straight where she's turning into a dog. I do think that there is an interesting thread here. I was telling my friend yesterday that like this is a theme that has been hit on. I think I talked about this on Substack as well. This is a theme that's been like percolating in the collective conscious for almost a decade now. I'm going to do a book recommendation at the end of this, but Afterbirth by Elisa Albert was written 10 years ago, and that was by a woman who had this like really, really bad motherhood experience or a really bad birth experience, and then she was staying home with her baby and she was like, this kind of sucks, right? And like, obviously I'm a man. I am not saying that it sucks. All I am saying is that as someone who reads 100 books a year or close to 100 books a year, and I keep up with what's going on in fiction, for the last 10 years, we've gotten many, 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 many books by women, millennial women who are like, I hate staying home. This sucks. And like, I feel like all of my personhood is being sucked away from me. And I think that Nightbitch was interesting because it was like taking this fantastical look at it, and giving it this like feral, animalistic quality and saying like, I'm still a person. I'm still here. I deserve to have a life, right? I deserve to like be out in the world and exist as something outside of like wife and mother, right? And again, this is a theme that like keeps coming up because unfortunately society is what it is. And a lot of people are forced to stay home because of the way that childcare costs have like risen dramatically in this country. And I've talked about this before too. Like I said, this didn't really work for me. It was kind of dull. Like it just didn't seem to like have a story. It seemed kind of listless. And like there is the argument that could be made that it was supposed to be listless because you're supposed to be inside of her head and like feel what it feels like to be a stay-at-home mom. But at the same time, there are movies about this that are not, kind of dull. It just was very slow. It was very serious. It like kept hitting you over the head with its theme over and over again. I think the real issue is that maybe there was like a studio interference thing where they said people aren't going to get it, so you have to like make it very serious and like play it straight. I think if this was either more fantastical or like more feral or more intense and like angry and dark, it would have been really, really good. But as it stands, like the product that is out right now is just not quite good. Over on Instagram, I did a complicated motherhood book recommendation post a couple of months ago. So Afterbirth, which I talked about earlier, this was really good. This was beautifully written. It was very, very big in like 2014. Department of Speculation. I think this is more about a marriage dissolving, but there is a sort of element of like being trapped in a life that you didn't necessarily want, even though you chose it. And I do not highly recommend Liars. I think it could work for some people. It did not work for me, and I know other people hated it. But this is a book that if you really want to get into the nitty gritty of like societal expectations for women and what it feels like to be forced into, or not forced, but like this weird box of like choosing to be wife and mother and then not being able to like be more than the box because of a shitty marriage and a shitty husband. Like the woman in Liars spends a lot of the book sweeping and cooking and mopping and sweeping and cooking and mopping and taking care of the kid, and all of the like depictions of very staccato sentences of like, she took him upstairs, she changed his diaper, she played with him, she took him upstairs, she changed his diaper, like most of the book, 80% of the book is that. So if you really want to be transported into the mind of like a stay-at-home mom or a mom who is sort of working part-time but sort of is also hating her life, you can read Liars. It is not a great reading experience, but you can read it if you want. I need to speak to Amy Adams' agent. I need to speak to him right now. I think she needs to speak to Nicole or Reese because there are a lot of incredible books that are coming out that could use adaptations or just like find something that works. But whatever this is, whatever her career has been for the last couple of years, is not it.